What's up, my cronies? I've always wanted to do Let's Play type videos, but I never did. So for my first real, full-length kind of Let's Play, I decided to do something that would be fairly simple, something I have experience with, so I picked Star Fox, released on the Super Nintendo in 1993, which of course was the first entry to the Star Fox series, which has been one of Nintendo's best-selling and more famous of series. And this really, it's mainly just to help me get my commentary up to par and help me improve on it. So we'll see how this turns out. Hopefully it won't be too bad. So as you could probably see, as I was talking over it, there are three paths you can take in this game. One of them being easy, one of them being a medium difficulty, and the third being a difficult path. And so each path takes about 30 minutes or so to complete. Doesn't take too long. And that's with no deaths or anything, really. But no matter which path you take, the first level is always the same. It's Corneria, which was also the first level of Star Fox 64, which is probably the most popular of the Star Fox series, the one that everyone seems to know, everyone's played, and everyone tends to think of when they think of Star Fox. But this is where it all began, literally. And I think it's pretty fun. For its time, its graphics were incredibly advanced, being one of the first console games with fully 3D polygonal models and all that kind of stuff. And relatively fast graphics for so much stuff happening at a time. Usually there'd be a lot of slowdown and lag when a lot of stuff's happening at once. But they developed a chip that they placed in certain game cartridges that allowed for a lot of stuff to go on and allowed for 3D models and stuff like that you see here. And though it doesn't look like much today, as I said, for its time, it looked really, really good. I think this was almost 20 years ago. And depending on when you watch this, it may be 20 years ago. It'll be sometime in 2013. I think it came out in the earlier part of the year. I looked online at some point. But, yeah, so at this first level, there's not too much they throw at you. After all, this is the first level of the easiest difficulty setting. But, so you only really see, maybe one or two enemies at a time, or sometimes no enemies. Like just a second ago. And you got robots walking around carrying stuff. Don't really understand what the point of those guys were. I guess ANDROSS needed robots to carry things. And if they're carrying things and stealing them, like those blue things, then if you're shooting them down, aren't you kind of destroying Corneria? I don't know, just kind of food for thought, it just kind of came to me. Here's the midpoint of the level, which doesn't really matter because I don't think I'll be dying. Of course, why am I not going to die? It's a waste of my time. But of course, if I did happen to die, I would have restarted at that point. And I have 2 lasers right now, because I picked up a laser upgrade. There's one more upgrade. You can have up to 2 upgrades, and it'll be relatively very, very strong lasers. Now here, the first boss of the game, which is the same aircraft that you saw in the opening cinematic. It's the attack carrier, and I don't know, ANDROSS must have mastered, negative space or something, because there's a bunch of missiles and ships and stuff in there, and I don't really know where they all fit. But it's a relatively simple boss. When the weak point opens up, you shoot it, and eventually it'll die. If you played Star Fox 64, you'll also recognize this was the first boss of that game as well. The boss of Corneria. If you did take the correct path, there were 2 actual bosses on Corneria. This one and one other one that I can't even remember right now. It was an all-range boss, but this boss is pretty simple. Kind of cool that they reused it in that game. So that's it for the first level. Like I said, nothing too bad. They don't really throw much at you. But I guess more stuff will come at us since the next level is the asteroid field. And kind of by definition, it's kind of filled with stuff. Now after you beat a level, I don't know, I guess it determines how many enemies you kill. It gives you a percentage. And you get continues based on how you do. As you saw, I got 100% on that level, and it gave me a continue. I think the next continue is at 300 points, or 300,000, or I think each percent gives you 1,000 points, so at 100,000 you get a continue, and then I think at 300,000, and then it doesn't really matter much. Now in most of the levels of this game, they start you off in first-person mode, which I absolutely hate, and well, it's not as bad as the first-person mode in like Star Fox 64, but I'd still rather prefer to play like this. Even though there's no real like cursor to show where exactly you're shooting, it's not that hard to figure out. So, like I said before, like this game can handle a lot of stuff going on at once, and you see all those particles and stuff flying all over the place. This would be almost impossible without the Super FX chip. And I think this was the first ever game that had that chip. Maybe wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is what they wanted to debut it with. And I think originally it was codenamed like the Mario 1 chip or something like that, which stood for some kind of technical jargon. But officially it's called the Super FX chip. So up until now, we haven't really seen too many enemies or anything, but now here come the asteroids. And as you can see, you can shoot the red-orange colored ones, but you cannot do anything about the gray ones. And it's not as long-lived as you'd expect. The onslaught of space rocks ends rather quickly. Now, if you noticed on the map screen, there was a level entitled Black Hole that wasn't really a part of any of the paths. Well, I believe it's from this level you can access the black hole, which I will showcase later in the Let's Play. There's a certain, here it is. Basically what you want to do is, at these spinning ones, you want to, see I messed it up already. You have to get as close as you possibly can to the red asteroid in the middle of the spinning things. See, here's the second one, and there's one more after this. You have to get as close as you possibly can before shooting it. Then you shoot it, and if you do it right, then I think something flies at you, and yeah, some kind of meteorite with a troll face or something, like, or some kind of face, some weird looking deformed face, not really a troll face, flies at you, and you shoot it, and it opens up the black hole. Or actually, I think that might be something later in the game that you access. Maybe you shoot one of these really big asteroids, or whatever. I don't know. You'll see it later. I did record it, and it took me a bunch of tries, because it's kind of annoying. It's kind of an interesting enemy right here, kind of like a weird flying Triforce that shoots plasma at you. And here's the boss of this level, the Rock Crusher, which I guess ANDROSS obviously wanted to rid the asteroid field of all asteroids so that you could build a base, or I think that's what General Pepper said. The boss is relatively simple. When it rotates and the weak points open up, you shoot them. If you're good, you can get all of them in one go. I almost did there. If you don't, you have to wait, as the game likes to showcase its 3D capabilities and have the thing come right at you. And you have to wait an extra turn. Not too complicated of a boss, and I think Star Fox 64 had a similar, not exactly like this, but a similar boss that kind of rotated and you had to wait and shoot weak points that opened up. And then once the big part is gone, it shoots plasma and missiles at you, and it dies. Relatively easily. Now this boss is used for the, I think this boss is reused for the hard path, the asteroid field of that, yeah, of that path. So let's see how I did on this one, if I got another 100%. path it'll show me without trying to show off its graphical capabilities. Here we go. 88%. That is a shameful display, and I apologize. Now, also kind of like in Star Fox 64, if you did it the right way, you would access some kind of warp hyperspeed kind of thing. And at the end of the level, you speed off, and it kind of has that Star Wars hyperspeed effect where the stars are kind of going by you or whatever. And so I had to do that again here. Now this is the last level I will showcase in this video. I'm trying to split them up to where it's like half of one path in a video, then the second half in the next. So the videos aren't too long, but they have a decent amount of content. Once again, the game tries to start you off in first-person mode. And of course, as always, I can't abide by that. Now here's the second upgrade that I was talking about earlier. As you can see, it just looks more powerful. And it is. It can kill almost anything easily. This thing's cool. If you shoot all three of the spinning things, you can get an extra life, which I just did. These things you can kill, but it's kind of difficult to do because you have to hit it a bunch of times. And even with the really strong lasers, it's hard to kill. I think I kind of lied when I said these things can kill almost anything easily. So we got ships shooting onion rings at us in this level. At least that's what they look like, kind of. Man, I'm hungry. And I think I actually did kill that one. Nice. Now this level's kind of cool because of these segments that you'll see, the first up right here. Of course, Slippy asking, should we go in? Yes, we should go in and destroy all that Andross has to attack Corneria with. Now these turn into less of killing enemies, but more of dodging obstacles. Ah, and the shield power-up. Its first appearance of the game. As the game just said, and I just told you, it's a shield that lets you take, I think, about 3 or 4 hits before it fades away. Even after you, like immediately after you take the 3rd or 4th hit, it will continue to provide some invulnerability. So we'll see how long I can hold on to it. Also, I'd like to notice, or to note, that I was just shooting Slippy, but he didn't take any damage or anything. There was no friendly fire in this game. And so you could really just go to town on your teammates and it wouldn't matter, unlike in the future games of the series. These enemies you kill by hitting the 3 weak points on the side, like I just did. I really like the song of this level. It sounds intense and like you're ready for battle. Now here's the second of these, and they get progressively a little harder, but like I said, we're on the easy path, so there's nothing too bad about this. But it is kind of neat to see, once again, the 3D models of everything as they pass by, and really the speed at which we're going. There's a bomb which I didn't get because I'm maxed out on bombs, because you don't really need them in this game all that much. Except for one boss, I found a use for them on the hard path, but I'll save that for another day. Kind of by default, because it'll be in another video. And you see I got hit right there. Well, you didn't see, but you heard. Made a kind of a chinky noise. Not in the racist kind of way, but see, and I took like 2 more hits, so I guess it is 3 hits. So we heard 2 little chick-chick hits really fast. And now I can take damage again. But it's okay because we're almost to the end of the level. You see that ship off in the distance? I guess that's the ARMADA mothership, which we're going to fly into and destroy the core. Now I think this is like a second checkpoint of the level. I don't really remember if there was one before it. But I think there was, and I think this level has 2 checkpoints. But like I said, it doesn't really matter, because this is the easy path. So now I think the enemies for the level are done, and don't worry, none of those lasers can hit you as you fly towards the mothership, and the intense music starts to play. Now we have the 3rd and final of these segments to go through. once again, it's pretty easy. Just dodge the things. I like the noise it makes as you go by them. It's pretty cool. And these things open whichever direction they're facing, so it's facing down, so it's going to open downward, so you fly above it. Pretty easy. And even if you mess up like the first time, you can figure it out all subsequent times. Oh, nice. The game gives you health before the boss. Now here's another one of those moments where the game really tries to showcase its 3D capabilities and stuff by having you fly through these corridors, which must be terrifying for a pilot. But honestly, how are you supposed to get out of here after you destroy the core? But here is the reactor core, the atomic base, I believe it's called. It's relatively simple. As it spins, you just have to shoot the things on the side. And then when it opens up in the middle, once all the side things are destroyed, just shoot the center. And bada bing, the level is complete. And somehow Fox gets out of there. And the mothership gets blown up. And the day is saved. Or at least for today it is, because this comes to the conclusion of the first part of my video. So if you enjoyed it, let me know what you think, or whatever, and be sure to check back for future parts. I'll try to get some of these uploaded relatively quickly, as quick as I can. So come back next time, where we will finish the easy path, and then after that we'll go into medium and hard, and look, I got 100%. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.